One celebrity wife hands me a $2 million breakup fee and tells me not to run my mouth after the divorce. Yet I push that check away, only hoping she'll listen to me sing one more song. I get up and walk to the stage in the middle, calling out to the resident singer performing on stage. "Beauty, can I sing a song?" The woman stops singing and steps aside. At a music bar, almost every day guests come up on stage to perform. This is one of the signature features here. Everyone patronizing this place is a high earner, where a casual drink costs hundreds of yuan. Seeing someone about to go on stage to sing, some heckling guests start applauding. "Handsome, give us a social swing dance." A chubby guy in the audience shouts with a lecherous grin. I sit in front of the microphone, pick up the guitar, and gently strum the strings. Lee Yunxi watches this scene with a somewhat dazed look in her eyes, feeling as though she has been transported back 8 years. Back then, Lin Feng was full of talent, a prominent campus figure. Faced with the pursuit of numerous campus belles, Lin Feng ultimately chose the kind-hearted Lee Yunxi. For the sake of Lee Yunxi's musical dreams, Lin Feng gave up a contract with an entertainment agency, willingly returning to domestic life to take care of her, and fully supporting her career with all his might. Now she has achieved great success and renown, while Lin Feng has long since become the most inconspicuous ordinary person. Ultimately, Lee Yunxi listened to her manager's advice and prepared to end this marriage. Yet right now, looking at Lin Feng on stage, Lee Yunxi feels as though she is seeing that original version of him. This song is called The You of the Past. I say softly, before beginning to strum the strings. A fresh and detached singing voice flows out from the tip of my throat. Merely the first 4 lines of lyrics, sung from my mouth, cause the entire music bar to fall into absolute silence. My singing is as light and plain as tea, blowing over just like a cool breeze. It goes straight to the bottom of their hearts. As they savor it closely, it grows more and more tasteful. A few sentimental men can already feel their eyes growing, moist at a glance. They look like corporate drones working hard away from home. My performance on stage continues. Once let your heart. Lee Yunxi, sitting in the corner, also has slightly red-rimmed eyes, reminiscing about her struggles over these past few years, and recalling the wonderful times she shared with Lin Feng back then. Manager Lu Lily quietly walks in, and seeing my spot completely empty, asks with a frown, "Did he sign?" Tears instantly stream down Lee Yunxi's face, and she says with a slightly trembling voice, "Sister Lu, can I choose not to get a divorce?" Lu Lily freezes. On stage, my singing voice remains clear and detached. My singing slowly fades away as the song finishes. Enthusiastic applause erupts throughout the bar. A middle-aged man wipes away his tears, stands up, and shouts, "Waiter, send this gentleman 100 roses at 200 yuan per rose." 100 roses come out to 20,000 yuan. These are props given by customers as tips to resident singers, from which the resident singer can earn a high commission split. If the person singing on stage is a customer of the establishment, the bar generally gives all the tip money to the customer. I'm not a singer here, nor don't want to earn this money, so I open my mouth to say, "Big brother, I accept your kind intentions, but I don't need the roses." The middle-aged man insists, "Brother, I haven't heard such a soul-stirring song in many years, so I have to express something. Can you sing another one?" 100 roses have already piled up beneath the front of the stage, and many customers in the bar begin to egg me on. "Sing another one. Sing another one." Lu Lily frowns, staring at me on stage, and says to Lee Yunxi in astonishment, "His vocal skills seem pretty decent, no weaker than a professional singer. The quality of the song is also very high. Is this his original work? Let's buy the copyright to this song later." Lee Yunxi asks again with earnest repetition, "Sister Lu, can I not get a divorce?" Lu Lily sighs, "Lin Shi, you are currently at the peak of your career, and every step going forward is critical. You cannot afford a single misstep, especially your perfect, pure public persona. Cannot tolerate even the slightest threat. Besides, Lin Feng doesn't deserve you. He's just an ordinary guy. Even though he owns 2 hot pot restaurants, his annual income is under $1 million, which isn't even enough for what you spend on cosmetics in a year. You're a musical diva who has released 3 best-selling albums, and the company has even arranged for you to be the female lead in a major blockbuster movie, along with placing you as a mentor on a top-tier variety show to elevate your status and prestige. By then, you'll be a true superstar. Lee Yunxi was persuaded by the future painted by Lu Lily, and the look in her eyes gradually grew firm. Meanwhile, I was still on stage, holding the microphone and saying with a smile, since everyone likes my singing this much, then I'll sing one more. The guitar strings rang out crisply, and this familiar melody slowly flowed out from beneath my fingers. A voice as clear as flowing water drifted through the bar, slow-paced and proud. That used to be mine too. Those simple, low-pitched vocals were incredibly catchy, like someone telling a story. The entire place fell silent enough to hear a pin drop. Everyone felt like the song was singing of their own life. Something soft deep inside their hearts was awakened. My voice suddenly turned soaring and passionate. Lu Lily and Lee Yunxi stared at me in astonishment. This song truly struck a chord deep in their hearts, making them just as deeply moved inside as everyone else. This was the kind of depth that could only be heard after experiencing the vicissitudes of the mortal world. Listening to this song, even Lu Lily had to admit that I was talented, yet she still believed I wasn't good enough for Lee Yunxi. My fingers gradually slowed down, and as the song ended, I gently stood up and with a solemn expression bowed slightly to everyone. Thank you all for listening. This song is called The Ordinary Road. With that, I walked off the stage with light steps. Only then did the applause finally ring out, and the guests throughout the venue snapped out of it, with many standing up to applaud frantically. Pair after pair of reddened eyes stared straight at me. That same big brother shouted in a booming voice, "Waiter, give another 500 roses to this brother here. You sing amazingly well." A young girl stood up directly and blocked my path. "Mister, can I add you on social media? I want to be friends with you." I smiled politely and said, "No need. I probably won't come here ever again, so we probably won't meet again either." The young beauty stared intently at me and shouted with a hint of petulant anger, "If you don't come, then I won't come either. Wherever you go, I'm following you." I smiled helplessly. "Sorry, I'm just a passerby in your life. If we are fated to meet again next time, we could be ordinary friends." Clutching her phone tightly, the young girl nodded fiercely. "Okay, I'll remember what you said." I passed the girl and walked toward Lee Yunxi. Applause erupted around us once more, and many people voiced their admiration. This handsome guy sings so well, and he's even talented enough to write such great works. I really want to get a contact info too. Whoever gets to marry him must be so lucky. I calmly walked back to my seat and sat down, picked up my cup of water to take a sip, and sighed to Lee Yunxi before me. I haven't sung in so long, so I didn't perform very well. Part of my poor showing. Lee Yunxi's eyes were somewhat reddened, and she hurriedly lowered her head to conceal her emotions. It was already very good. Your vocal skills are even better than before. Lu Lily hurriedly nudged Lee Yunxi with her arm, wearing an awkward yet polite smile as she said, "He sings pretty decently. If there are any issues, you can sign. We have other schedules later today." Lu Lily saw that Lee Yunxi's emotional state was off, and fearing she might change her mind again, hurriedly handed the agreement over for me to sign. I nodded, picked up the pen, and wrote my name on both copies of the agreement. After finishing the signatures, I let out a long sigh of relief, looked at Lee Yunxi, and asked with a smile, "Is the entertainment industry really that fun?" Lee Yunxi freezes for a moment, a flash of bewilderment crossing her eyes, and says with a hint of panic, "If it's successful, isn't that fun?" I stand up, wave my hand, and say, "Well, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. I wish you all the best in the future." Looking at me, Lee Yunxi asks softly, "Do you regret it?" I sigh and say softly, "I don't regret being with you, nor do I regret divorcing you. I used to love you very much, and now I respect your choice. Since it's chosen, don't think about it so much. Just keep moving forward. This is life." I flash a smile, and then turn around and leave. Lee Yunxi stands frozen in place in a daze, suddenly feeling a sharp pain in her heart, as though something has shattered. Lu Lily hurriedly calls out to me, "Wait, are you selling the copyrights to the 2 songs you just sang? We can offer you the highest price in the industry." I frown slightly, shake my head, and say buying the outright copyright is impossible. If she wants to sing them, let her sing them. Just pay me a copyright fee every time she performs them. Thinking to myself, since we're divorced, let's keep things strictly business. The songs can be given to you to sing, but the copyright fees that should be paid cannot be a single cent less. With that, I walk away without looking back. I head to the front desk to settle the bill. The waiter smiles apologetically. "Sir, please hold on for a moment. Our boss would like to talk with you." I ask with puzzlement, "What does your boss want to talk to me about?" Right as I finish speaking, their boss walks out. "Hello, I'm the boss here. My name is Zhou Huajian. I wonder what Mr. Lin's name is." I nod politely. Hello, my name is Lin Feng. Boss, if you have something to say, feel free to speak straight. Zhou Huajian nods. All right. First, this is the flower money Mr. Lin earned from singing just now. Zhou Huajian places a thick stack of cash on the table. I don't refuse. After all, this was earned through my own singing. Zhou Huajian continues solemnly. Additionally, I like to purchase the performance copyrights for the 2 songs Mr. Lin just sang, along with the trademark rights. I want to change the name of my bar to The Ordinary Road. I wonder if we can discuss this? Of course we can. I nod in agreement. Hearing this, Zhou Huajian is overjoyed, not expecting things to be negotiated so quickly. That's fantastic. I really love those 2 songs. The starting price I'll offer you is a minimum of 100,000. If you're unsatisfied, we can discuss it further. It's best if we find some time tomorrow to talk in detail. And once we reach an agreement, we can sign the contract. No problem. How professional. Let's talk in detail tomorrow then. Zhou Huajian smiles. All right, please leave a contact method. I leave my phone number with him and turn to leave. Walking out of the music bar, a red sports car is parked right in front of me. A young and pretty girl steps out from the car. She is precisely the girl from inside who wanted my contact info. Hello, is this the kind of fate you were talking about? The young girl stands in front of the sports car, looking at me with a beaming smile. I smile helplessly and extend my right hand. Fate isn't a deliberate encounter. My name is Lin Feng. The girl reaches out to shake my hand and says playfully, my name is Qin Keqing. Would I have the honor of giving you a ride home? I smile and shrug. It's my honor. I get in the car, and the sports car speeds away from the music bar. Li Yunxi and Lu Lily walk out from the entrance. Lu Lily says with utter disdain, look at that. This is what men are like. He just signed the papers with you. And the moment he walks out, he goes and hooks up with someone else. Seeing how practiced he is at this, it definitely isn't his first time. You haven't really seen him much these past few years. So who knows how many times he cheated during the marriage. For a man like this, getting a divorce early on is the absolute right choice. He simply doesn't deserve her. Li Yunxi shakes her head with a sense of loss, as Lin Feng's words from just moments ago echo in her mind. This is life. Half an hour later, a red sports car stops at the entrance of an ordinary residential complex in Modu. Stepping out from the passenger seat, Qin Keqing follows him out of the car as well and says with a smile, you're so humorous. Talking with you is so much fun. Along this entire journey, my composed demeanor and witty banter have made her fall for me even deeper. I shrug my shoulders. Life is already boring to begin with. Why not try to live it a bit more happily? Beauty, thanks for giving me a ride back. It's getting late. You should head back early. Qin Keqing stares right at me and asks softly, aren't you going to invite me up for a sit down? The smile on my face slowly fades away, and with a slightly stern expression, I say, young lady, I'm already over 30 years old. What about you? Qin Keqing's face gradually turns flushed, and with a slightly shy voice, she says, I'm 24 and just graduated last year. We aren't that far apart in age. I like guys who are a bit older than me, and I never even dated in university. They were all just too childish. I shake my head and say, I've already been divorced. Your life has only just begun. Qin Keqing lifts her head abruptly, her tear-brightened eyes filled with a stubborn, paranoid gleam. I don't care. I believe in love at first sight. I like you, and I'm willing to marry you. Tomorrow morning, I can go with you to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get our marriage license. I don't want a bride price. Or do I want your house? I don't want anything at all. I already have all of those things. I let out a sigh. It looks like I'm going to have to mercilessly pull out my killer move. Qin Keqing, what's your birth date? Qin Keqing is stunned for a moment, before hurriedly replying, September 22nd. I was born in the year of the snake, and this is my zodiac birth year. What a huge pity. A fortune teller once said that I can't be together with people born in the year of the snake, especially snakes born in November, as they're basically my natural nemesis. I like you a lot too, but it's a shame heaven won't allow it. I'm heading out first. With that, I turn around and walk away. Qin Keqing freezes in place, her eyes carrying a trace of sorrow and gloom, gazing blankly at my back until I walk into the residential complex, before she suddenly snaps out of it, realizing this must just be an excuse. Otherwise, how could there be so many coincidences? What fortune teller? She doesn't believe that nonsense. For a single second, and the next moment, I suddenly walk right back out from the complex gates and ask Qin Keqing, all right, which foot touched the ground first when you stepped out of the car just now? Qin Keqing instinctively glances down at her left foot. I shrug my shoulders with helplessness once again. You put your left foot down first. Well, I put my right foot down first. As expected, we're not people from the same world. Hurry back. You'll meet someone much more suitable for you. Goodbye. After saying that, I'll walk back into the residential complex once more, vanishing completely from sight. With a gloomy expression, Chin-Kiching looks down at her left foot once more, a trace of a smile breaking across her face. As she shouts toward the gates, Lin Feng, stop trying to fool me. I know you like me too, and I'm not giving up. You just wait. I'm coming here to find you every single day. I suddenly walk out from the complex again. Do you know what the synonym for love at first sight is? Chin-Kiching stares at me with wide eyes, pouting her lips without saying a word. It's lust at first sight, so stop saying things like love at first sight, and hurry home. With that, I turn around and walk back inside. Chin-Kiching pouts her lips, her eye sockets turning red, and a droplet of tears swirls within her eyes. Yet she forcefully holds them back and refuses to let them fall, shouting toward the gates, "You're talking nonsense. I'm not in a lust at first sight." Seeing that I didn't come back out, she wiped her eyes, locked her car doors, and walked into the complex to take a look around. Realizing this was a relatively old residential area, she searched back and forth but couldn't find my figure anywhere. I know you live here. Chin-Kiching wore a determined smile and lingered around the complex entrance for a while longer, attracting quite a few onlookers from within the neighborhood. After turning down 50 simp chat-up attempts, Chin-Kiching finally left her red sports car and vanished down the end of the road. I walked out from the residential complex, finally letting out a sigh of relief, and hailed a taxi to return to my actual home. I had been ice-guyed into this world for 8 years now, never expecting a marriage to wrap up this quickly. A wave of emotion welled up inside me. Is finding a kind person to spend the rest of your life with really this difficult? Early the next morning, Li Yunxi and I went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to process our divorce. The moment we received our divorce certificates, Manager Lu Lily laughed out loud with pure joy. I didn't care about any of that, thinking to myself that everything was a fresh start now. Right as I stepped out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I received an unknown call. "Mr. Lin Feng, I am Zhou Huajian. Do you have time this noon? Let's meet up and discuss the song copyrights." The call was from yesterday's bar boss. I didn't turn him down. "Sure, all right. Mr. Zhou, I'm looking for a professional recording studio. Do you know any?" Zhou Huajian replied without a single second of hesitation. "Of course. I'll take you there after we eat lunch." When lunchtime rolled around, I arrived at a high-end Western restaurant nearby. Zhou Huajian was already there chatting with a middle-aged man. Seeing me arrive, Zhou Huajian hurriedly stood up to introduce us. "Lin Feng is here. This is my friend Li Qingyuan. He's a lawyer, and today's contract was drafted by him. Take a look." Li Qingyuan stood up and shook hands with me. "Hello, Huazi told me you're extremely talented in music. I watched the video of you singing last night, and both songs sound fantastic. I personally love them a lot, just not sure where they can be downloaded." I was slightly taken aback, never expecting a lawyer to ask this kind of question right off the bat. "Thanks for the love. There are no download links online yet. Once I finish recording them, I'll let you know." Li Qingyuan nodded. "That's awesome. Take a look at this contract." I picked up the contract and looked it over. The 10-year cover copyright fee for the 2 songs is 100K. The trademark usage fee for The Ordinary Road is 50K, making a total of 150K paid in a lump sum. I did a quick mental calculation, reviewed a few more contract details, and, feeling everything looked solid, I wrote my name on the contract on the spot. Zhou Huajian quickly signed his name as well. Such a badass. "I'm transferring the money to you right now." Right then and there, Zhou Huajian transferred 150K to me via his phone. "To be honest, bro, your 2 songs are seriously top tier. Have you ever thought about dropping an album to see how it goes?" I chuckled and said, "I've had some thoughts about it, but I don't have anyone backing me. I was planning to record and drop some tracks on my own to test the waters." Zhou Huajian's eyes lit up. "I actually have a record company on the verge of bankruptcy. The production and distribution channels are still all there. Why don't you sign with my company? I'll help you produce and release your album." I looked at Zhou Huajian, not turning him down instantly. "Let me think about it." "Sure, take your time to think it over. My company is called Donghua Records. You can ask around the industry. It had a bit of clout 10 years ago. Later on, making records got harder and harder, and if I didn't personally love music so much, I would have shut it down long ago." I asked in surprise, "The recording studio you mentioned belongs to your own company?" Zhou Huajian nodded. "Yep, my company's recording studio hasn't really seen much use. It's mostly just me and a few friends going there to jam and record for fun sometimes. If you want to use it, I'll take you over to check it out this afternoon. All right, then I'll have to trouble you. After finishing a high-end Western meal, all three of us had a wonderful chat. In the afternoon, Zhou Huajian led me over to his record company. The company indeed looked quite old, yet the recording studio equipment was still fairly advanced. I first took a moment to acclimate and familiarize myself, clear my throat, and recorded both songs on the very first take. Zhou Huajian and the recording engineer both gave me thumbs up. Following that, what shocked them even more was that I also started playing instruments myself, handling the arrangement and backing music, recording instrument by instrument, and almost every single track was completed in a single take by personally stepping up to handle post-production. The backing tracks and vocals for both songs were fully wrapped up in just a single afternoon. Zhou Huajian and the recording engineer both declared they had never seen anyone this professional before. Stepping out of the recording studio, Zhou Huajian had a burning look in his eyes as he grabbed my hand and said, "Bro, sign with my record company. I'll use all the company's resources to drop your album. You are the most OP musical genius I've ever seen. Whether it's the currently viral male singer Wu Han or the hottest female singer Li Yunqi, neither of them can compare to you." Zhou Huajian's tone carried absolute certainty. Hearing Li Yunqi's name, I paused for a brief moment before quickly packing up my things, shaking my head to decline. "Brother Hua, my apologies. Let me think about it some more. Sorry for the trouble today." Zhou Huajian felt extremely regretful, yet he didn't pressure me either. "All right then, take your time to think it over carefully. Nowadays, those big companies don't care about real music. They only know packaging and hype. My company is different. I'm not aiming to make a profit. I just want to make good music." Seeing how sincere Zhou Huajian was, I also gave him a promise. If I ever decide to drop an album, I'll definitely collaborate with Brother Jian. "Awesome. Having your word is more than enough." Returning home in the evening, I opened up my computer, registered an independent musician account, and uploaded the 2 recorded songs. After 5 minutes, I refreshed the back-end analytics, only to find that both songs had 0 plays. I smiled, fully experiencing the struggle of a rookie. I first ordered a bowl of braised chicken rice, and after finishing my meal, clicked the mouse to refresh again. 2 listens, 2 downloads, thinking to myself with quiet delight. I guess this counts as a decent opening start. However, I immediately noticed right beneath the track, there was actually a single comment. "Mister, you big liar. I'll definitely track you down." The netizen ID of the poster read, "Pure-hearted beauty Chin Kitching." Judging by the name and tone, it had to be her. To think this little brat tracked me down this fast. She's quite stubborn. I smiled unconcernedly, not taking the matter to heart at all. Meanwhile, Chin Kitching sat on her sofa, staring at the comment section, waiting for a reply. When half an hour passed with 0 response, she was practically fuming with anger. Earlier today, she had specifically gone to that old residential complex and shown my photo to the neighborhood security guards, only to be told there was no such person living there at all. Pouting her lips in a huff, Chin Kitching jumped into several classmate and work group chats, uniformly dropping the exact same message. "Found 2 insanely good new songs. Everyone go download and check them out. Guaranteed bangers." This move left everyone in the chat groups utterly stunned, promptly sending them into a frenzy. Did the class monitor get her account hacked? She's actually posting ads out of nowhere. The class monitor's pristine image is shattered. My youth is gone. President Chin is actually dropping ads? We definitely gotta listen then. This is way too good. As expected, President Chin and I share the exact same top-tier taste. That vibe of combining something fresh with a hint of worldly vicissitudes is totally my jam. 601 Chin Kitching happily left yet another message. 602 inches the comment section. 603 Mr. No need to thank me. 604 early the next morning. 605 Yi Dongming, who worked as an associate director. 606 at The Voice, call me up. 607 phone, gee, the you of the past and the ordinary road. 608, did you sing those 2 songs? 609, yeah, Dongzi, what's up? 610, our company has been scouting for independent musicians recently. 611, didn't T want to debut? 612, I help you apply for an audition slot. 613, just come right over this afternoon. 6:14, if you pass. 6:15, you can go straight to the blind editions of The Voice. 6:16 this year, The Voice even added an international league. 6:17, and the final winner will be crowned as the world's #1 voice. 6:18, Dongzi, I'll be there right on time this afternoon. 6:19, He Dongming chuckled, small matter. 6:20, give me a call when you arrive. 6:21, and I'll come out to pick you up. 6:22, hanging up the phone. 6:23, I refreshed the back-end analytics. 199 listens. 624.198 downloads. Instantly shaking off my sleepiness, I perked right up. 6:25, seeing the comment left by Pure Hearted. 6:26, Beauty, saying no need to thank me. 6:27, I immediately realized Chin Kaching was helping me promote it. 6:28, after thinking it over, I still chose not to reply to the young girl. 6:29, since I didn't want to get married anytime soon. 6:30, I shouldn't lead her on. 6:31, after eating lunch. 6:32, I tidied myself up carefully. 6:33, and hopped in a taxi to a small theater. 6:34, He Dongming came out smiling to welcome me inside. Today, 6:35, there were a total of 30 people auditioning. 6:36, mostly independent singers. 6:37, with the rest being top-tier students from music conservatories. 6:38, hearing them chat. The competition sounded intense. 6:39, several multi-million follower bloggers hadn't even passed. 6:40, very soon, it was my turn. 6:41, I walked up onto the stage. 6:42, where a dozen people and 3 cameras were sitting opposite me. 6:43, He Dongming was standing right among them, giving me a thumbs up. 6:45, I stood before the microphone and bowed slightly. 6:46, then introduced myself. Hello, esteemed teachers. 6:47, I am Lin Feng. 6:48, the man sitting in the center tapped his pen on the desk, stared straight at me, and said, let's begin. 6:50, I nodded, picked up the mic, and started singing right away. 6:52, after singing a few lines. 6:53, I suddenly raised my vocal pitch, my voice turning piercing and lingering. 6:55, you. 6:56, it lit up the room. 6:57, this was precisely the legendary whistle register. 6:58, the dozen or so people from the production crew all widened their eyes. 6:59, across the entire domestic pop music scene. There were fewer than 5 singers capable of hitting whistle notes, and every single one of them was a superstar. 6:62, if this kind of skill couldn't land a spot, then it was definitely a rigged inside job. 6:64, with a snap, the glass cup on the table suddenly emitted a crisp sound, and fine cracks spread across the glass. Seeing this scene, several of the judges, stretching out their necks, drew in a sharp breath of cold air and stared wide-eyed at the cup. 6:71, as the song came to an end, I once again bowed slightly to express my gratitude. 6:73, the theater remained dead silent, with a dozen pairs of eyes fixed on me as nobody spoke for a moment. 6:75, the associate director gave a light cough, looking at me with an amazed gaze. Lin Feng, have you ever studied vocal music? 6:78, yes. We had vocal classes back in university, and I learned some basics. 6:80, the associate director nodded. 6:81, this matched what He Dongming had said without a hitch. 6:82, he continued asking, have you debuted yet? 6:83, have you ever released any songs? 6:84, not yet. I've only dropped 2 songs online, and right now the download count is under 200. 6:86, the associate director stood up, smiled, and said, all right, I hope our show will be the starting point for you to make a name for yourself. If you have time, come sign the contract tomorrow. Pleasure doing business with you. 6:91, I walked over and shook hands with the associate director. 6:92, pleasure doing business with you. 6:93, I winked at He Dongming as well. 6:94, and then turned around and left. 6:95, the first step to debuting could be considered a success. 6:96, I am playing music, walking out of the small theater. 6:97, just as I got into a taxi. 6:98, I received an unfamiliar call. Hello, Mr. Lin Feng. 6:99, I am from Tongfei Music Platform. 700, and we'd like to purchase the copyrights to your 2 new songs. 701, I was slightly surprised. 702, Tongfei Music is the country's biggest original music platform. 703, so with my 2 songs having under 200 streams and downloads. 704, how did they track me down so fast? 705, thanks for the recognition. 706, but I don't want to sell the song copyrights for now. 707, the person on the other end hurriedly said, don't rush to turn us down. 708, we've evaluated it internally, and the price will definitely satisfy you. 709,500K for the outright copyright of 2 songs. 710 is definitely the highest price in the independent singer industry. 711, I scratched my head. 500K for 2 songs was indeed very high. 712, but Lou Lily had offered 600K before. 713, besides, I wasn't lacking money at all right now. 714, my 2 hot pot restaurants. 715 yielded over $1 million in net profit every single month. 716, if I hadn't given the employees a 70 profit share. 717, my income would be even higher. 718,500K wouldn't even be enough to open a hot pot restaurant. 719, I decisively refused. 720, the voice on the phone grew somewhat anxious. 721, Mr. Lin, do you think the price is too low? 722, you can name your price, and we could discuss it. 723, not want to waste time bickering with them. 724, I stated bluntly, it's not just a matter of price. 725, I won't sell the copyrights to my own works. 726, if you want the cover rights, you can buy them from me. 727, these 2 songs were absolute classic masterpieces back on Earth. 728, so they definitely couldn't be sold off casually. 729, right at that moment, at Tungfei Music's headquarters. 730, operations director Zhang Xiaoqing wore a deeply furrowed frown. 731, he stared intently at the song data in the back-end system. 732, foot the U of the past, 1,080 streams. 7331, 070 downloads. The Ordinary Road, 1,200 streams, 1,200 downloads. 734, streaming was free while downloading was paid. 735, yet for these 2 songs. 736, the streaming data and download data were practically identical. 737 inches, other words. 738, every single user who streamed them chose to pay for a download. 739, a 100 pay rate could only be described as terrifying. 740, having worked at Tungfei for over a decade. 741, Zhang Xiaoqing had never seen such an incredible piece of work. 742, he picked up his phone and called back again. 743, only to be met with a refusal once more. 744, I took a car to my own hot pot restaurant, with a large characters Go Shuching were written on the signboard. 746, it was currently lunchtime, rush hour. 747, and the shop was packed to capacity. 748, seeing me arrive, the store manager Tang Jing. 749, hurriedly came over to greet me. Boss. 750, Yuri, he finally awake? 751, Tang Jing was one of the earliest employees to follow me in starting the business. 752, and knowing I like to sleep in. 753, she often joked about it. 754, I glared at Tang Jing. Cut the crap. 755, how's the situation been these past 2 days? 756, Tang Jing chuckled, pretty good. 757, we basically packed every day. 758, though some internet streamers came to our shop today. 759, I was filled with doubt. 760, could those mukbang streamers be trying to get a free meal again? 761, right then, 2 streamers inside the shop were live streaming. 762, the prettier one, named Sufir. 763 was currently singing a popular song of the moment. 764, her vocal skills were quite decent. 765, and the dozens of customers eating on-site applauded in praise. 766, finishing her song, Sufir. 767 stood up and shouted to the people around her, friends. 768, how about we have the boss sing one? And afterwards, he has to give me a free meal today. 770, this was an interactive game Sufir often played. 771, during her live streams. 772, the surrounding customers all joined in to egg it on. 773, seeing this setup. 774, I immediately turned around and walked toward the door. 775, store manager Tang Jing giggled. 776 chased after me from behind and grabbed onto me. 777, shouting loudly, everyone. 778, our boss is trying to run away. 779, damn it, there's a mole. 780, I turned back, laughed awkwardly, and said, "Stop messing around, huh?" 781, Tang Jing wore a mischievous grin. "Everyone." 782, our boss is feeling shy. 783, Sufir pointed her live stream camera phone straight at me. 784 looked me over carefully and thought, he's pretty handsome. 785, however, she only cared about the broadcast effect. 786, so she smiled and called out, "Boss, care to sing a song?" There are tens of thousands of people watching the live stream. 788, Tang Jing hurriedly pushed me forward. 789, this was an awesome opportunity to promote the shop. 790, I glanced at the phone camera. 791, and smiled as I said, "Hello everyone." 792, I am the boss of Guo Shuching. 793, welcome everyone to come here and eat hot pot. 794, the two streamers also joined in to hype things up and interact. 795, you could tell they were really good at creating broadcast engagement. 796, the live stream chat room also grew lively. 797, the boss and the streamer should do a singing PK. Whoever loses has to answer a question from the other. Yeah. 798, let's play a truth game. 800, seeing the chat, Sufir agreed to it on the spot. "Boss, do you dare to play truth or dare?" The customers eating around them all laughed out loud. Almost most of them were regular patrons who really love the vibe here. "Boss, don't bottle it. Even the beauty isn't scared. What are you afraid of?" Sing one. Seeing this setup, I knew I wouldn't be able to step down without singing. So I generously agreed on the spot. All right, then I'll sing one of my own. The expressions of the people around revealed shock. Even Tang Jing hurried over close and asked in a low voice, "Boss, when did you start writing your own songs?" I shoved this chatterbox away. Cut the crap. I was a singer to begin with, only to be delayed by you guys. Otherwise, I would have been a major star long ago. TSK, I don't believe it. Sufir also asked with curiosity, "Boss, are you an independent singer-songwriter?" I nodded in admission. "Yep, I just dropped 2 works yesterday. And today happens to be a fitting occasion, so I'll sing a new song." The surrounding people's eyes went dark. Can someone who dropped a song just yesterday even count as a singer? Many people in the chat began teasing and bantering. "This boss is hilarious. Ha ha ha, and super witty. Where's this shop? I want to go eat there too." Seeing the live stream's popularity surge by several thousand viewers, Sufir felt a secret thrill at how well this broadcast effect was playing out, and immediately urged me to sing. I waved my hand and shouted to Tang Jing, "Bring me my guitar." Tang Jing hurried over to the office to fetch a guitar. "Boss, this guitar was all covered in dust." She wiped it clean before handing it to me. I hugged the guitar and sat down on a chair, with Sufir seated right next to me. The fragrance radiating from her drifted into my nose, making me feel quite uncomfortable. "Do me a favor and move a bit further away. You're cramping my performance." Sufir was completely dumbfounded, staring at me with wide eyes, as she tried to confirm whether I was joking. Every time she went out for live stream interactions, other people would practically beg to get closer to her. Yet this hot pot restaurant boss was actually giving her the cold shoulder. Sufir had no choice but to scoot a bit to the side. Many people around also muffled their chuckles. Tang Jing said to a female waitress, "Our boss really is an ultimate straight arrow blockhead." The waitress nodded in agreement. The live chat also flooded with comments saying ultimate straight arrow. I didn't care about that at all, plucked the guitar strings a little bit, and said, facing the phone camera, "A song called Alive is dedicated to everyone." Sufir and the female streamer beside her exchanged glances, both wearing smiles. This guy was taking it pretty seriously. Clang clang. The hurried sound of guitar strumming rang out, carrying an intense sense of rhythm. Sufir's eyes lit up. This intro actually sounded kind of good. My slightly raspy singing voice followed right after. The normally bustling Guo Shuching hot pot restaurant suddenly grew dead silent. Hearing the lyrics, everyone felt deeply moved inside. Wasn't this song singing about their very own lives? They hold Apple phones. They wear Nike and Adidas, worrying about running late every single day, living through each day in such a rush. Sufir widened her eyes, staring at me with a gaze full of shock. This guy, he seemingly really wrote a pretty decent song. seeing many customers waiting in line coming in to listen to the song. Tang Jing quickly hooked up the hot pot restaurant sound system. My singing voice suddenly turned soaring and passionate. I loved this song a lot back in the world of Earth, as it expressed deeply profound life meanings. The singing voice passed through the speakers, spreading out onto the street, and many passers-by gathered around. Sufir checked the live chat and found that the comments were all filled with amazed remarks. This boss is way too OP. This song is actually kind of catchy. Feels like it's sung with total reality. Holy cow, a hidden master in the city. Is this the legendary urban hermit? Is this shop called Guoshuching? I'm gonna eat there tonight. The online viewer count in the live stream had already broken 100K, and tips suddenly surged like crazy. 901 Sufir knew she had already lost. 902, yet she was still quite happy since the broadcast effect was so good. 903, meanwhile, my singing was still ongoing. 904, I swept my palm across the guitar strings, suddenly pressed down firmly on them with a crisp thrum. 906, and as the song ended, the entire audience snapped out of their trance. 907, the hot pot was still bubbling away while people swarmed the main entrance. 908, I stood up and tossed the guitar over to Tang Jing nearby. 909, song's over. Time for everyone to eat your food. 910, and go about your shopping. 911, stop staring at me. 912, a tide of applause erupted. The boss sings so well. 913, you re-seriously a singer. 914, sing another one. 915, and I'll eat at your shop for the rest of my life. 916, everyone continued to egg it on. 917, I waved my hand, held the mic, and said, everyone's here to eat, not to listen to songs. Once I finish recording the track and upload it online, y'all can go search and download it. 922, seeing how resolute I was, the crowd stopped pressing the issue. 924, Sufir immediately sidled up close to me. Boss, that song sounded amazing. Where can I download it in a couple of days? 927, I handed the mic back to Tang Jing. 928, search, suave and dapper, on Tung Fame music. 929, Sufir blinked her eyes. Your name is Suave and Dapper? 930, I retorted, what, don't I look the part? 931, Sufir chuckled. You do. 932, yet the live stream chat was a uniform sea of nope. 933, at that moment, someone reminded them of the bet between the two. 934, knowing she had to honor the wager, or else her reputation would take a hit. Sufir immediately said to me as I prepared to leave, boss, I lost just now, so you can ask me a question now. 940, my eyes lit up, and many onlookers around us chuckled eagerly. 942, can I ask any question at all? 943, Sufir's face flushed slightly, and she nodded nervously, her brain racing at lightning speed. What kind of privacy-invading question was he going to ask? My voice snapped her back to reality. 948, then, I'll ask a very sensitive question. 949, the surrounding customers also widened their eyes, waiting to catch some gossip. 951, looking at Sufir's expression, I asked earnestly, what's your take on lay buses? Recent petite scandal? 955, the previously boisterous and lively restaurant instantly became dead silent. 957, many customers waiting for the drama froze on the spot, staring at me with wide eyes. 959, Sufir was instantly dumbfounded as well, her gaze turning completely vacant. 961, seeing the utter shock on her face. I couldn't help asking, what's wrong? Is this question too sensitive? 964 inches the live stream chat. The four characters' ultimate straight arrow flooded the screen densely, with some netizens even posting too hardcore straight arrow. 967, suddenly, a trending topic appeared on Weibo. 968, what is a hardcore straight arrow? 969, attached below was a video. 970, featuring none other than Sufir and Lin Feng. 970, won the water cup, and Dongming's hand dropped straight to the floor. 972, staring wide-eyed at the video, he muttered. 973, when did Fengji get so good a variety show flair? 974, beside him, The Voice. 975, Associate Director Zhou Qinghua also burst out laughing. 976, with a sharp 977, Dongming. Your old classmate is pretty hilarious. 978, has he signed with a talent agency yet? 979, Dongming shook his head. Probably not. He's been running a hot pot restaurant these past few years. 981, Zhou Qinghua smiled. 982, well, do you think there's any chance he'd sign with Jianghua Entertainment? 983, He Dongming knew that Jianghua Entertainment was in bed with The Voice. 986, only by signing with their agency. Could someone truly blow up on The Voice? 988, regarding that, it's hard for me to say. 989, however, he tends to be unconventional in his ways. 990, and isn't too keen on being reined in. 991, Zhou Qinghua smiled, then patted He Dongming on the shoulder. 993, Zhu Yan, who auditioned today, has already signed. 995, pass along a word to Lin Feng for me. 996, Jianghua Entertainment is his best option. 997, He Dongming nodded without saying anything further. 998, after turning off her live stream, Sophia returned home. 999, took a shower to clear her head. 1000, and realized that in just half a short day. 1001, his live stream video at Guo Shuqing. 1002 had blown up across the entire internet. 1003, with his follower count instantly skyrocketing by 200K. 1004, this ultimate straight arrow uncle is so interesting. 1005, I gotta go do another collaboration episode next time. 1006, at 8 p.m. 1007, Zhang Xiaoqing hadn't gotten off work yet. 1008, he stared intently at a set of comparison data on his computer screen. 1009, Lin Feng's two new songs. 1010, which only had around 1,000 streams and downloads in the morning. 1011 had surged to over 10,000 by evening. 1012, the pay rate remained scarily high. 1013, Zhang Xiaoqing let out a sigh. 1014, it was such a pity not to have snapped up these two songs earlier. 1015, now, they were so popular that no one could suppress them anymore. 1016, meanwhile. 1017, I went over to Zhou Huajin's company in the afternoon. 1018, recorded alive in a single take. 1019, and upon returning home. 1020, uploaded the song straight to the Tongfei music platform. 1021, as soon as I logged into the backend, a ding sounded out. 1022, the system was flooded with reviews and comments. 1023, these two songs could already be considered minor hits. 1024, with streams and downloads both hitting roughly 15,000. 1025, the number of back-end private messages was too countless to count. 1026, with many wanting to purchase the song copyrights. 1027, right at that moment. 1028, He Dongming call me up. Feng Ji. 1029, come over tomorrow to sign the voice contract. 1030, no problem. 1031, I'll be there right on time. I agreed immediately. 1032, He Dongming hesitated for a moment. 1033, then suddenly said, 1034, Director Zhou wants you to sign with Jianghua Entertainment today. 1035, I had actually been thinking about talent agencies myself. 1036, so I asked, how is Jianghua Entertainment? 1037, He Dongming sighed. 1038, advising, this company doesn't have a very good reputation in the industry. 1039, they frequently exploit young artists. 1040, I wouldn't advise you to sign with Jianghua. 1041, you can wait until you're more famous before signing with a good company. 1042, I frowned. If I don't sign, won't there be restrictions? 1043, He Dongming chuckled, for sure. 1044, however, with the International League this year. 1045, they probably won't dare to pull anything. 1046, too shady. After chatting a bit more, He Dongming hung up the phone. 1047, I looked at my phone and let out a sigh. 1048, the entertainment industry was still the exact same. 1049, dragging her exhausted body back home. 1050, Qin Keqing collapsed face first onto the sofa, motionless. 1051, glancing at her phone, she saw quite a few classmates sending her messages in the group chat. 1053, tapping it open, she saw was a video. 1054, with Lin Feng's face right there on the video cover. 1055, she sat right up from the sofa, instantly becoming full of energy and vigor. 1057, this guy is actually the boss of Guo Shuqing. 1058, I literally went to Guo Shuqing just a few days ago. 1059, what a pity I didn't run into him. 1060, Qin Keqing muttered with a tone of grievance. 1061, and he was actually dodging me. 1062, humph, this young lady is going to Guo Shuqing to eat tomorrow. 1063 Chin Kaching stared at Sufir for a moment. 1064 and said with absolute confidence, 1065 this streamer isn't even prettier than this young lady. 1066, after watching Sufir's live broadcast video, 1067 Chin Kaching drove her sports car straight to the hot pot restaurant the next morning. 1068 stepping out of the car, she was instantly dumbfounded. 1069, it was a sea of humanity crammed with customers. 1070, along with plenty of minor internet celebs trying to ride the hype wave. 1071, Tang Jing was already at the entrance holding a mic and shouting. 1072, hello handsome guys and beauties. 1073, apologies. 1074, today's number queue has already reached over 500. 1075, and our shop can only host a maximum of 200 tables of guests a day. 1076, guests further back in line, please come back tomorrow. 1077, we are deeply sorry. 1078, standing in the crowd, Chin Kaching felt somewhat helpless. 1079, she walked up to Tang Jing and said, store manager. 1080, I want to apply for a membership card and top it up. 1081, Tang Jing's eyes lit up. 1082, and she led her over to the counter to fill out the paperwork. 1083, how much would you like to top up? 1084, Chin Kaching pulled out her bank card. Max it out. 1085, Tang Jing was instantly stunned. 1086, max it out, as in how much? 1087, Chin Kaching smiled playfully. 1088, then let's start by topping up 100K first. 1089, the surrounding customers were all startled upon hearing that. 1090, Tang Jing also wore a look of utter disbelief. 1091, are you sure you want to top up 100K? 1092, Chin Kaching nodded and said, positive. 1093, how much do I need to top up to get your boss to join me for a meal? 1094, with a soft pft. 1095, several girls waiting in line nearby burst out laughing. 1096, Tang Jing also pursed her lips into a smile. Apologies, our 1097 shop doesn't offer that service. 1098, Chin Kaching looked awkward. I'm just joking. 1099, when you see Lin phone, tell him I'm coming here every single day. 1100, Tang Jing widened her eyes and looked at Chin Kaching carefully. 1101, all right, I'll pass along your message. 1102, since you're a VIP member of our store. 1103, you can just make a reservation half an hour in advance next time. 1104, Chin Kaching leaned in close to Tang Jing's ear and whispered. 1105, can you give me Lin Feng's phone number? 1106, Tang Jing pursed her lips into a smile. 1107, realizing that Chin Kaching and her boss weren't actually that close. 1108, apologies. We can't disclose the boss's personal privacy. 1109, after getting her card sorted out. 1110, Chin Kaching didn't go home. 1111, she ordered a cup of coffee right across from Guo Shuqing. 1112, and stayed on watch until the hot pot restaurant closed. 1113, this Lin phone guy is practically a reincarnated Loach Sprite. 1114, so hard to catch. 1115, early the next morning. 1116, I woke up and first checked the back-end data. 1117, all three songs had already hit over 20,000 downloads. 1118, not bad. 1119, I headed downstairs, hailed a cab, and headed over to sign with The Voice. 1120, signing alongside me were a dozen or so other contestants. 1121, once everyone uniformly signed their variety show contracts. 1122, Associate Director Zhou Qing. 1123, Hua dragged me into his office. 1124, you haven't signed with a talent agency yet, right? 1125, would you like me to recommend one? 1126, good thing He Dongming had given me a heads up beforehand. 1127, I smiled and said, thanks for Director Zhou's concern. 1128, but I'm not planning to sign with an agency for now. 1129, Zhou Qinghua frowned and said, 1130, then what if I can help you secure an A-list contract? 1131, I chuckled, part of my boldness, Director Zhou. 1132, but I believe my value goes far beyond A-list. 1133, Zhou Qinghua stared at me with wide eyes. 1134, wearing a look of utter disbelief. This young man has got a huge ego. 1135, then I can only wish you surpass the A-list sooner rather than later. 1136, I also stood up and shook hands with Zhou Qinghua. I will. 11:37 following that, the voice began an overwhelming wave of publicity. 11:38 sure enough, there was practically no mention of me in the promotional materials. 11:39, and even Sufir's restaurant visit video lost its trending traction. 11:40, right as I arrived back home. 11:41 Tang Jing's call came through. Boss. 11:42, did you lead someone on and abandon them outside? 11:43, someone's come looking for you at the shop. 11:44, I frowned. What nonsense is this? 11:45, who led anyone on? 11:46, Tang Jing laughed. There's this super pretty girl. 11:47, who came yesterday and bought a 100K top-up card. 11:48, and waited for you until we closed up. 11:49, she's back again today, eating hot pot. 11:50, I hung up the phone. 11:51, having a rough guess of who it was. 11:52, why is this little brat still hunting me down? 11:53, taking a cab to the entrance of Guo Shuching. 11:54, it was still a sea of people here. 11:55, now completely turned into an internet check-in hotspot. 11:56, walking inside the hot pot restaurant. 11:57, I spotted a solitary figure sitting by the window. 11:58, at a single glance. 11:59, it was none other than Qin Keqing. 11:60, I slowly walked up to her. Excuse me, beauty. 11:61, can I sit next to you? 11:62, Qin Keqing's body visibly shuddered. 11:63, and she quickly turned her head to look at me. 11:64, her face filled with shock and pleasant surprise. 11:65, I smoothly sat down. You've been looking for me this whole time? 11:66, she nodded obediently. I'm divorced. 11:67, and I'm a total scumbag. 11:68, liking me will only ruin your life. 11:69, she stared at me and smiled. I don't believe it. 11:70, I widened my eyes and sized her up. 11:71, you re so pretty. And the streets are packed with handsome guys. 11:73, you could just pick any random one. 11:74, why choose me? 11:75, Qin Keqing smiled and said, I don't care. 11:76, I've got my eyes on you anyway. 11:77, if you lead me on and abandon me. 11:78, I LL raise our kids all by myself. 11:79, I was straight up shocked. 11:80, what kids? 11:81, she answered earnestly, our future kids, of course. 11:82, I shook my head helplessly, truly having no way to deal with her. 11:84, a sudden thought struck me, and I said, then I'll sing you a song. 11:85, yay. 11:86, her bright eyes were brimming with smug triumph. 11:87, this young lady could play the domineering CEO. 11:88, or act cute and play dumb. 11:89, either way, she was latching onto me for good. 11:90, soon, Tang Jing brought over the guitar. 11:91, and quickly hooked up the store sound system. 11:92, the boss is singing again. 11:93, this was an absolute prime promotional opportunity. 11:90, for the restaurant was already surrounded by a massive crowd. 11:95, buzzing with noisy chatter. 11:96, I sat on the bench holding the guitar, lightly tuning the strings, and my fingers began to dance dexterously across the fretboard. 1200, a weathered and mellow singing voice rang out from my lips. 1201, the entire audience remained dead silent. 1202, with everyone listening intently. 1203, a few minor internet celebs trying to ride the hype wave. 1204, grinning from ear to ear. 1205, knowing this wave was about to net them a fortune. 1206, the live stream viewers surged instantly from a few thousand to tens of thousands. 1207, and the tipping numbers climbed continuously. 1208, Qin Keqing sat quietly beside me. 1209, her heart beating at an accelerating pace. 1210, she could tell that through this song, I was still rejecting her. 1211, knowing this was intentionally sung for her. 1212, she clutched tightly onto the corner of my shirt with both hands. 1213, feeling a bit scared inside. Scared that once she let go, she'd never find the courage again. 1215, the surrounding customers, however, were listening with great delight. 1216, this song hit right home in their hearts. 1217, sipping red wine, watching movies, enjoying solitude. 12:18, how full of style was that? 12:19, my performance continued. 12:20, missing you is the most painful yet most heart-moving memory. 12:21, with the song finished. 12:22, the venue remained quiet. 12:23, I stood up and said, thank you everyone. 12:24, this song is called It's Not That Simple. 12:25, and I hope everyone's future lives will be happy and joyful. 12:26, warm applause erupted across the venue. 12:27, many minor streamers broadcasting live wanted me to interact. 12:28, but I turned them down one by one. 12:29, and quickly hurried into my office with a guitar. 12:30, Chin Kuching followed behind me, silently with her head lowered. 12:31, I slumped down onto the chair and waved at the hesitant Chin Kuching. Have a seat. 12:33, she cautiously sat down across from me and whispered, I know you're not a scumbag. You don't have to lie to me. 12:36, I chuckled. You're still young. Don't get fooled by superficial appearances. I have to participate in a show in a couple of days and don't have time to play around with you. 12:40, Chin Kuching said with a serious expression, I'm not playing around with you. 12:41, tomorrow morning, I can go get our marriage certificate with you. 12:42, I think you never liked anyone since I was a kid. 12:43, and you're the first. 12:44, I stood up, getting ready to head home. You should hurry up and leave. 12:45, I'm going home now. 12:46, Chin Kuching stared at me with fixed eyes, then suddenly stood up and rushed straight toward me, shoving me backward hard with both hands. 12:49, before I could react, I was knocked backward onto the desk. 12:51, her eyes carried an unstoppable, fearless momentum, and her head suddenly pressed down toward mine. 12:53, with a pop, her face crashed straight into mine. 12:55, both of us cried out in pain. 12:56, coming to my senses, just as I prepared to push away this bold little girl. Chin Kuching refused to let up. Even though her nose and forehead hurt, she still planted her lips firmly onto mine. 12:61, she didn't hold back and gave a hard little bite. 12:63, ouch. I cried out in pain once more, pushing her away forcefully. What do you think you're doing? Are you crazy? 12:66, Chin Kuching twiddled her hands together, feeling a bit proud inside, and smiled shyly. You were trying to run away, so I panicked and just did that. 12:70, I was left completely speechless. 12:71, sucking lightly on the wound on my lip. I thought, I really can't deal with you. 12:73, you should hurry home. I've got things to do. 12:75, at this point, I had already concluded in my heart. 12:76, that this girl truly had no clue about the real world. 12:77, which made me even less willing to ruin her. 12:78, I pushed open the door and walked out. 12:79, early the next morning, I woke up and checked the injury on my lip. It had already stopped bleeding. 12:82, Lee Yunxi had called several times, but I didn't pick up a single one. 12:83, since we were divorced, we might as well live our lives in peace apart. 12:84, I opened up my computer and found that the download counts for all 3 songs had already exceeded 80,000. 12:87, this growth rate was seriously impressive. 12:88, after interacting with fans on the computer for a bit. 12:89, I got ready to head over to Zhou Huajin's place to record songs. 12:90, right as I stepped outside, a red sports car was parked right at the neighborhood entrance. 12:92, Chin Kuching was leaning against the car door, looking at me with a full smile. 12:94, she opened the passenger side door, made an inviting gesture, and said, get in. 12:96, I thought to myself, oh crap, she definitely tailed me to my residential complex yesterday. 12:98, how was I, an ice-eyed Mandapop king, unable to shake off a little girl? 1300, I said with a calm tone, I've got things to attend to. 1301, Chin Kuching's smiling face was earnest. I'm seriously not stirring up trouble. 1302, I noticed you haven't bought a car yet. 1303, and given your financial power, you could buy whatever car you want. 1304, so I figured you might just not like driving. 1305, would it be all right if this young lady reluctantly acts as your driver? 1306, I ignored Chin Kuching. 1307, hailed a taxi on my own and left. 1308, not long after heading out. 1309, He Doming's call came through. Phone G. 1310, the voice is about to start recording the first episode. 1311, have you chosen your song yet? 1312, hurry up and report it to us. 1313, so we can contact the copyright holders. 1314, no need to report anything to me. 1315, I am singing my own song. 1316, I glanced at the driver's rearview mirror. 1317, and spotted Qin Kaching's sports car trailing right behind us. 1318, He Dongming hung up the phone. 1319, and wrote 4 characters under Lin Feng's performance song slot. 1320, contestant original. 1321, He Dongming handed the contestant data over to Zhou Qinghua. 1322, Zhou Qinghua skimmed over it. 1323, focusing his attention on Chun Xiaowen and Lin Feng's profiles. 1324, during the audition stage. Both of these two. 1325, had steadily belted out dolphin notes. 1326, Chun Xiaowen was a genius contestant hailing from the Central Conservatory of Music. 1327, destined to join the national team in the future. 1328, the songs he chose were all high-difficulty tracks. 1329, including even foreign language songs. 1330, Zhou Qinghua nodded in satisfaction at this. 1331, when he saw Lin Feng's info, he frowned. 1332, contestant original? What does this mean? 1334, He Dongming explained in a low voice. 1335, it means he's going to sing his own original song. 1336, so we don't need to purchase copyrights. 1337, this can even save us a chunk of expenses. 1338, Zhou Qinghua turned his head to look at He Dongming. 1339, how much does a copyright fee even cost? 1340, is your friend here to crack a joke? 1341, does he not know that singing originals is the fastest way to flop? 1342, He Dongming gave a bitter smile. 1343, he knew Lin Feng's personality very well. 1344, this kind of thing couldn't be talked out of. 1345, Zhou Qinghua let out a helpless sigh. 1346, he pulled out Chun Xiaowen's profile. 1347, to make the promotional poster. 1348, Chun Xiaowen as the cover standing right in the middle. 1349, with Huang, Tao, and Mo Wenjia placed on either side. 1350, while everyone else could just be given a dark silhouette. 1351, He Dongming nodded to indicate he understood. 1352, then which contestants should we send out for the first episode? 1353, Zhou Qinghua looked over the roster. 1354, and directly pulled Lin Feng out. 1355, to have him perform first. 1356, since you want to play games. 1357, ILL, just make sure you go home early. 1358, meanwhile. 1359, I saw Zhou Huajian again in the recording studio. 1360, along with another middle-aged man. 1361, the two of them were chatting away. 1362, seeing that I had arrived. 1363, Zhou Huajian walked over and introduced me. Lin Feng. 1364, this is a friend of mine, director Zhao Lei. 1365, Zhao Lei reached his hand out to me. Nice to meet you. 1366, I specifically came here today to wait for you. 1367, I reached out and shook hands with Zhao Lei. 1368, and asked out of curiosity, does director Zhao have business with me? 1369, Zhao Lei chuckled. I'm currently shooting a movie. 1370, and I want to use your The Ordinary Road as the theme song. 1371, and The Once You as an interlude. 1372, that's no problem at all, as long as it's not a buyout of the copyright. Everything is negotiable. 1374, right at that moment. 1375, Zhao Lei and Zhou Huajian both looked behind me at the exact same time. 1376, it turned out Qin Kaching had followed her way inside. 1377, just as I was about to make introductions. 1378, Zhou Huajian directly waved his hand. Kaching. 1379, why are you here? 1380, Qin Kaching skipped over happily. 1380, won her hands behind her back and called out obediently, hello, Uncle Zhou. 1382, hello, Uncle Zhao. 1383, I was just passing by and came in to take a look. 1384, after finishing her words. 1385, Qin Kaching shifted her footsteps without a trace. 1386, moving right next to me. Zhou Huajian and Zhao Lei paused for a second. 1387, then cast strange, knowing glances at the two of us. 1388, and burst out laughing simultaneously. 1389, I felt a bit awkward. 1390, while Zhao Lei eagerly pulled me away. 1391 to the next room to talk copyrights. 1392, Zhou Huajian. 1393, and Qin Keqing sat down on the sofa outside. 1394, Keqing, did you come here together with Lin Feng? 1395, Zhou Huajian asked out of curiosity. 1396, Qin Keqing nodded with a blushing face. 1397, does your dad know about this? 1398, Zhou Huajian's expression turned somewhat serious. 1399, Qin Keqing puckered her lips. 1400 shook her head and said, Lin Feng hasn't agreed yet. 1401, Zhou Huajian was taken aback. 1402, his eyes widening a circle. He didn't agree. 1403, could it be that you're chasing him? 1404, Qin Keqing nodded shyly. 1405, Zhou Huajian suddenly didn't even know what to say. 1406, so he picked up his teacup and took a sip. 1407, you should think this through carefully yourself. 1408, and it's best to sound your dad out first. 1409, before long, Zhao Lei and I walked out. 1410, the two of us had a very pleasant chat. 1411, 2 songs for 100K, non-exclusive film and television licensing. 1412, after all, I've transmigrated twice now. 1413, so I'm crystal clear on song copyrights. 1414, after sending Zhao Lei off. 1415, I started recording the song. It's not that simple. 1416, watching me record a song for the first time. 1417, Qin Keqing was straight up shocked. 1418, a single person carrying the power of an entire band. 1419, too badass. 1420, I busied myself all the way until late at night before finally nailing this song. 1421, when I walked out exhausted. 1422, Qin Keqing hastily handed over the dinner she had bought. 1424, eat up quickly. You must be starving. 1426, I thought about it and didn't say anything. 1427, instead, digging into the meal box with ravenous bites. 1428, Qin Keqing opened up a cup of milk tea and placed it next to me. 1429, you so amazing. 1430, chomp, chomp. 1431, the only response answering her was the sound of eating. 1432, yet she was extremely happy. 1433, chattering away nonstop beside me. 1434, I was genuinely terrified of her. 1435, as soon as I finished eating, I bolted toward the door. 1436, you hurry back now. I'm heading home too. She hurriedly chased after me. I'll give you a ride. 1438, I shook my head and walked to the entrance to wait for a cab. 1439, only to find there wasn't a single taxi around at this hour. 1440, Qin Keqing drove her car over to my side, parking it right there, and rested her head on the car window, quietly watching me. 1443, after a full 10 minutes passed. 1444, I had no choice but to get in the car. 1445, the car sped along the road. 1446, and she said with a face full of joy. 1447, can we start out as friends first, taking it step by step? 1449, I nodded. 1450, being friends is fine, but don't circle around me all day long. 1452, I looked up at the sky, feeling somewhat heavy inside. 1453, alrighty, I've got work to do too. So now we're friends, right? Right? I nodded without speaking. 1456, the car quickly arrived back at the residential complex. 1457, she locked up the car. 1458, and followed me into the complex. 1459, I looked at her in bewilderment. I'm home now. What are you following me for? 1461, she said matter-of-factly, I'm your friend, aren't I? Since I worked so hard driving you home, shouldn't you invite me up for a sit-down? 1464, no way. Hurry home right now. Otherwise, we can't even be friends anymore. 1466, Qin Keqing agreed reluctantly, then pulled out her phone to add me on WeChat. 1468, knowing I wouldn't be able to shake her off today if I refused. 1469, I added her as a friend and bolted immediately. 1470, after getting her way, she let out a cheeky giggle. 1471, turned around and made a phone call. 1472, is the place all sorted out yet? Hurry up and bring the keys over to me. 1474, I returned home, took a shower, and then refreshed the back-end stats. 1476, Foot the Ordinary Road had already surged to #1 on the original charts. 1477, early the next morning, 1478, birds chirped noisily outside the window. 1479, I got ready to go record the instrumental accompaniment. 1480, as the voice was kicking off in a couple of days. 1481, the moment I opened my door, right? At the entrance, a pretty figure handed over breakfast. 1484, I asked the breakfast shop owner, and he said this is what you order every single day. 1486, I forced a smile, accepted the breakfast, and said, thanks. 1488, Sheen Kaching followed closely behind me happily. 1489, I heard from Uncle Joe that you're going to record an accompaniment track. 1490, I've got two badass childhood friends, and I've already notified them to come over. 1492, I said nothing, hailed a taxi, and left straight away. 1,494 inches the car, my eye sockets moistened unbidden. It had been many years since anyone had bought me breakfast. 1496, wait for me. Sheen Kaching hurriedly rushed to her sports car, slammed her foot on the gas, and tailed right behind me. 1498, the two of us arrived at the recording studio almost simultaneously. 1499, Zhou Huajian personally came out to the entrance to welcome us. 1500, and upon seeing Sheen Kaching and me arriving together. 1501, he gave a meaningful, knowing smile. 1502, the three of them walked into the company. 1503, I was testing equipment in the recording studio. 1504, when two girls walked in shortly after. 1505, Sheen Kaching hurriedly made introductions. 1506, these are my childhood friends, Jiang Yu and Murong Yu. 1507, Jiang Yu is a piano major graduate from the Central Conservatory of Music. 1508, and Murong Yu is a Berkeley graduate. 1509, they re-absolute pros. 1510, I didn't expect Sheen Kaching to actually call on some people. 1511, these two girls were indeed quite pretty. 1512, I just didn't know if they understood music. 1513, I greeted them first. Please give me your guidance, you too. 1514, Jiang Yu glanced sideways at me. 1515, asking with a cold tone, have you ever studied music? 1516, I nodded. I've taken a few vocal lessons. 1517, Jiang Yu walked over to the piano and sat down. 1518, testing a few notes slightly. 1519, and then said with a disappointed look, this piano barely suffices. 1520, your name is Lin Feng. Xiaoshua's boyfriend? 1522, Sheen Kaching's expression shifted. 1523, and she looked at me fearfully. 1524, I shook my head. She and I are just ordinary friends. 1525, Jiang Yu nodded. 1526, not caring much about that. I'm going to play a piece right now. 1527, and after it finishes, I'll ask you a few questions. 1528, if you can answer them. 1529, you have the qualification to collaborate with me. 1530, the atmosphere instantly turned tense. 1531, Zhou Huajian watched the show quietly from the side. 1532, while Sheen Kaching grew rather anxious. 1533, I was slightly taken aback. 1534, then looked at Jiang Yu with a hint of appreciation. No problem. 1535, you can start right away. 1536, Jiang Yu's index finger danced across the keys. 1537, and a piece of music flowed outward. 1538, mere seconds into the opening. 1539, all four of us lit up our eyes simultaneously. 1540, she was definitely an expert. 1541, even Zhou Huajian couldn't help giving a thumbs up. 1542, Jiang Yu played for a full 10 minutes. 1543, and eagerly asked me her first question. 1544, what is the name of this piece? And in what decade was the composer active? 1546, everyone turned their gazes toward me. 1547, I faked a dead serious expression. 1548, and said with a somewhat embarrassed smile, to be honest. 1549, I never even heard of this piece. 1550, Jiang Yu sneered. 1551, and stood up ready to leave. 1552, I continued speaking. However, 1553, your piano standard meets my requirements. 1554, now, I'll play a piece for you to hear. It won't hurt to listen before you leave. 1556, Jiang Yu thought about it for a moment and stood by the side without speaking. 1558, I walked over to the piano and sat down. 1559, the rest of them looked at me doubtfully. 1560, I smiled and said, I'm only interested in my own music. 1561, so I don't understand other people's pieces. 1562, Jiang, you couldn't help letting out a soft laugh. 1563 whispering to Chin Kaching. 1564 is your boyfriend mentally deranged? 1565 Chin Kaching shot her a roll of the eyes. 1566 I rested my hands gently upon the keys, and my index fingers lightly glided across them, as smooth as flowing water. 1569, the notes fell like light raindrops dropping from the heavens, gently melting into everyone's soul and body. 1570, Won Murong Yu and Jiang Yu were musical geniuses. 1572, so they felt it the most intensely. 1573, their bodies instantly shuddering for a moment. 1574, could such a celestial melody even exist in this world? 1575, my piano playing technique was also exceptionally superb, surpassing even Jiang Yu's level. 1577, even Zhou Huajian felt utterly shocked. 1578, everyone broke out into enthusiastic applause. 1579, I stood up and waved my hand. 1580, piano is just my amateur hobby. I've made a fool of myself in front of you all. 1582, Jiang Yu and Murong Yu transformed into little fangirls. 1583, their eyes filled with envy. Great master, what is this piece called? Can you teach us? 1585, I smiled and said, this piece is called Castle in the Sky. Teaching you is no problem, but you gotta get to work first. 1588, the two little fangirls nodded repeatedly. 1589, just like that. 1590, I recorded several instrumental tracks in a row inside the studio. 1591, which would temporarily be enough for the voice. 1592, returning home at night. 1593, I opened up the Tongfei backend dashboard. 1594, and took a look at the ordinary road. 1595, it had already hit 900,000 downloads. 1596, it must be because the platform gave it a recommendation slot. 1597, everything was changing for the better. Once I made some money, I'd open a few more hot pot restaurants. 1599, I wrote down the score for Castle in the Sky. 1600, and sent it to Chin Kaching via WeChat. 1601, Murong Yu and Jiang Yu acted as if they had struck gold. 1602, practicing it over and over again. 1603, the next day, I moved into He Dongming's place. 1604, which wasn't far from the voice recording site. 1605, He Dongming even took me to check out the recording venue in advance. 1606, the two of us ate midnight snacks and drank beer, just like back in high school. 1607, reminiscing about our past campus life. 1608, Chin Kaching had been messaging me nonstop over the past 2 days. 1609, persistence spells success. 1610, and sincerity opens all doors. 1611, my attitude toward her had also undergone a shift. 1612, 3 days later, the recording for the first episode of The Voice kicked off. 1613, this time around, The Voice's promotional scale was massive. 1614, with overwhelming ads covering the internet everywhere. 1615, all 4 mentors were also super top-tier superstars. 1616, National Song God Chinon. 1617, National Treasure Vocal Powerhouse Lu Junhua. 1618, Legendary Diva Wang Jingyu. 1619, and Rock King Chui Wenfeng. 1620, I rode in He Dongming's car to the recording venue. 1621, where plenty of contestants had already gathered inside the lounge. 1622, I found a quiet spot and sat down. 1623, with a handsome-looking boy sitting right next to me. 1624, after getting acquainted, I learned his name was Huang Tao. 1625, and he happened to be performing second. 1626, not long after, the recording officially began. 1627, director Zhou Qinghua walked behind the cameras. 1628, picked up the mic and shouted, "All units pay attention." 1629, the first episode of Blind Auditions recording begins. 1630, contestants enter. 1631, the door to the lounge I was in pushed open. 1632, and He Dongming waved at me wearing his headset. "Linfeng, you're up." 1633, I nodded. 1634, flashed another smile at Huang Tao. 1635, and then stepped outside. 1636 after I left. 1637 the smile on Huang Tao's face vanished instantly. 1638 his assistant muttered in a low voice. 1639 to think Lin Feng actually dares to sing an original song. That's straight up asking to die. When your turn comes up right after him, it'll be relatively easy by comparison. 1643 Huang Tao nodded hard. 1644 should I dance when I get on stage later? 1645 the assistant forced a weak smile during the blind auditions. 1646 the mentors can't see you dance. Just singing will do. 1648 Huang Tao said regretfully, guess I'll only get a dance next time then. 1649 the other contestants inside the lounge kept glancing over at the screens. 1650 I walked from the contestant passageway toward the stage. 1651 arriving right at the center of the light-focused stage. 1652 looking at the 4 giant chairs turn away from me. 1653 I felt a tiny trace of tension. 1654 Zhou Qinghua stood behind the cameras holding down the fort. 1655 with director Zheng, a station leader, standing right beside him. 1656 the first contestant to appear is named Lin Feng. He just released 4 new songs, all of which cracked the top 10 on the new song charts. He's got some serious power. 1660 director Zheng maintained a calm expression. You guys did a good job this time around. Both the contestants and mentors are genuine powerhouses, even if the expenses were a bit on the high side. 1663 Zhou Qinghua let out a helpless, bitter smile. We couldn't help it if we wanted it to be low. The total investment for this season of The Voice exceeded 300 million, so we definitely have to pull off some results. 1666, at this moment, the music started playing. 1667, and the 4 mentors sitting in their chairs looked filled with anticipation. 1668, I held the microphone standing at the center of the stage. 1669, as the prelude progressed. 1670, the music swept outward like a tidal wave. 1671, and my singing voice slowly rang out. 1672, with just 4 simple lines of lyrics. 1673, the song's melody was catchy and sweet to the ear. 1674, my voice was crisp and bright, yet carried a faint trace of sorrow. 1675, Qin Han placed his hand over the big button in front of him. 1676, swaying his body to the beat of the music. 1677, with a loud thud. A puff of white smoke burst out around the large chair. 1679, and then the entire chair began to swivel around. 1680, the other 3 mentors all looked toward Qin Han in astonishment. 1681, sure, this stretch of melody sounded nice. 1682, but it wasn't quite at the level of pressing the button yet. 1683, Qin Han was also left completely clueless with a blank face. 1684, he realized he had accidentally triggered it by mistake. 1685, and it was already too late to stop. 1686, he could only pretend to remain calm. 1687, I was immersed entirely in my own performance. 1688, completely oblivious to this little hiccup. 1689, at this moment, I raised my pitch. 1690, belting it out at the top of my lungs. 1691, you still ended up saying sorry. 1692, a wave of explosive, high-impact chorus lyrics. 1693 left everyone on the production crew utterly dumbfounded. 1694, even Zhou Qinghua was slightly shaken. 1695, this song of mine had actually sung its way into his heart. 1696, it had been many years since he was last moved by music. 1697, Huang Tao. 1698, and his assistant also stared dumbfoundedly at the live feed on screen. 1699, the emotional pull of this song was simply too strong. 1700 with another thud. 1701, Lu Junhua's chair swiveled around. 1702, he was genuinely blown away by me. 1703, and had no choice but to turn around. 1704, Wang Jingyu smiled with a frown. 1705, still hesitating over whether to press it. 1706, only Cui Wenfeng sat there with his eyes closed. 1707, listening intently to the song. 1708 with a thud, the eye-closed Chui Wenfeng. 1709 slapped his palm down onto the button. 1710 his chair followed by spinning around. 1711 after which he opened his eyes and took a glance at me. 1712 Wang Jingyu also gently reached out and tapped the button. 1713 spinning around right along with them. 1714 all four mentors had turned around. 1715 Zhou, Qinghua, and everyone on the production crew were. 1716 surprised that the very first contestant had already pulled off a clean kill. 1717, and with an original song at that. 1718, at this point, thunderous applause erupted from the audience seating. 1719, everyone was applauding both for my song. 1720, and cheering for the mentors' turns. 1721, all four mentors looked at me with great relish. 1722, taking in my ordinary, unpretentious attire. 1723, and the traces of the years etched across my face. 1724 at a glance. It was obvious I wasn't very young anymore. 1725, I continued standing on the stage. 1726, singing with unwavering resolve. 1727, as the song came to an end, deafening applause echoed across the entire venue once more. 1728, some audience members had already reddened their eye rims. 1729, this was a heartbreaking love song. 1730, and it resonated deeply with many. 1731, I bowed slightly toward the four mentors. 1732, and said in a calm tone, "Thank you for mentors." 1733, the four mentors also stood up from their chairs. 1734, and delivered their applause to me. 1735, inside the lounge. 1736, Huang Tao gave his own thigh a fierce smack. 1737, how is this guy's original song still so insanely fire? How am I supposed to follow that? 1739, his assistant stood nearby with a gloomy, distressed expression. 1740 on stage, Rock King Chui Wenfeng spoke up first. 1741, is this a song you wrote yourself? Have you ever formed a band? 1743, I answered earnestly. The song was written by myself, and I haven't formed a band yet. 1745, after asking his question, Chui Wenfeng stopped talking. 1746, his eyes filled entirely with appreciation. 1747, Qin Han anxiously piped up, "Feng Ji, I was the first one to turn around. Don't go stealing my guy." 1750, right after saying that. 1751, he pointed at me and said, "Introduce yourself first." 1752, I was taken aback for a split second. 1753, and immediately stated, "My name is Lin Feng, 175,431 years old this year. Graduated from the Beijing Film Academy's acting department. Currently running 2 hot pot restaurants. And moonlighting as an independent singer." 1758, the 4 figures in the chairs were all wearing question marks. 1759, Wang Jingyu couldn't help asking. 1760, so you majored in acting instead of music? 1762, I nodded. That's right. I took a few vocal classes back when I was in school. 1764, the 4 mentors exchanged glances with one another. 1765, Lu Junhua burst out laughing. 1766, an actor who can't make hot pot isn't a good singer. 1767, Wang Jingyu's gaze suddenly lit up as she stared right at me. 1768, are you Fengdu Pianpian? 1769, I nodded again. My screen name is indeed Fengdu Pianpian. 1770, the eyes of all 4 mentors lit up. 1771, they all knew the name Fengdu Pianpian. 1772, Wang Jingyu slapped her palm down, excitedly saying, "I thought your voice sounded a bit familiar when I heard it just now. I never expected it to really be you. I watch your videos and listen to your 4 songs. I love them so much. Come to my team." 1778, Qin Han eagerly shouted, "What are you doing? Stealing my person? Lin Feng, come to my team." I was the very first one to turn around. 1782, Lu Junhua also laughed. "Lin Feng, I welcome you to my squad. We can exchange music just like friends." 1785, watching them start to fight over me. 1786, I was also pondering how to choose in my heart. 1787, Chui Wenfeng had been watching me quietly all this time. Only now did he speak up. "If you want to rock out, then come with me." 1790 at that moment. Host Aji walked up wearing glasses. Lin phone. Do you have anything you'd like to ask? 1793 holding the mic. I want to ask the four mentors. I want to sing my own new songs for all the subsequent matches. Can the four teachers accept that? 1796 Aji was the first to look shocked. You mean in every single match? You're going to sing original songs? 1798, I nodded affirmatively. 1799 Shui Wenfeng took the lead in expressing his stance. I have no problem with that. Rock and roll is all about being unrestrained and free. 1801 The other three mentors also indicated they had no problem with it. 1802 Aji shouted loudly. Lin Feng. 1803 Now, please tell me your choice. 1800 for the four mentors looked at me with slight tension. 1805 Such an awesome seedling. 1806 was something everyone wanted to fight over. 1807 My gaze swept across the four mentors one by one. 1808 and finally settled firmly on Chui Wenfeng. 1809 I said in a resonant voice, I choose Teacher Chui. 1810 for the time being, I want to rock out. 1811 Chui Wenfeng burst out laughing. 1812 and glanced at the other three with a hint of smugness. Awesome. 1813, this is the most correct choice. 1814 Wang Jingyu wore a face full of regret. Oh God. 1815 Lin Feng, you actually didn't pick me. 1816 Lu Junhua also felt a bit of pity. 1817 actually, I released a rock album before too. 1818 Shin Han was the most unwilling. 1819, I was the very first one to turn around though. 1820 host Aji shouted loudly, congratulations to Lin Feng. 1821 for joining Teacher Chui's team. 1822, please have Lin Feng head down to rest for now. 1823 next up, let's welcome our next contestant, Huang Tao. 1824 Huang Tao dawdled as he walked out from the lounge. 1825, and straightened up his appearance in front of the mirror once more. 1826, right at this moment, his heart was panicking like crazy. 1827, he genuinely wanted to escape from the back door. 1828, but his assistant had already blocked it shut. 1829, as soon as I walked off the stage. 1830, Dongming walked over and handed me a bottle of water. 1831, giving a thumbs up as he said, "You're a beast, bro." 1832, coming straight up and pulling off a clean kill. 1833, I took the water and took a sip. Just ordinary, third best in the world. 1835, Dongming wore a look of utter contempt. Stop fronting. Director Zhou wants to invite you out for dinner tonight. You going or not? 1838, I frowned and hesitated for a moment. Let's skip the dinner. I'm heading back home and calling it a day for now. 1840, Dongming dragged me over to the side of the stage. 1841, it was pitch black over here. 1842, but you could clearly see the stage and the four mentors. 1843 dawn, rush off just yet. Watch this performance first. This Huang Tao specifically sought out Director Zhou, demanding to be scheduled to perform right after you. He knew you were going to sing an original piece, and thought he could take advantage by following behind you. 1849 hearing that, I burst out laughing straight away. 1850 talk about miscalculating and shooting yourself in the foot. Good thing I can check out what his strength is like. 1852, right at that moment, the music started playing. 1853, and both Dongming and I stopped talking. 1854, our gazes fixed intently on the stage. 1855, Huang Tao stood at the center of the stage holding the microphone. 1856, the kid really did have a very handsome look. 1857, it's just that his mouth was a bit crooked. 1858, as the prelude progressed. 1859, he started singing. 1860, what he sang was a rap song that had blown up. 1861 inches popularity last year. 1862, I felt this song actually suited Huang Tao quite well. He really had to sing it with a crooked mouth to get that authentic flavor. 1864, however, the four mentors didn't seem to think that way at all. 1865, with all of them furrowing their brows tightly. 1866, without a single one turning around. 1867, the production crew members were also quietly watching them. 1868, everyone knew. 1869, that Huang Tao was a traffic singer that a big company wanted to push. 1870, so nobody dared to offend him. 1871, the audience seating was also unusually quiet at this moment. 1872, with everyone staring at Huang Tao with bewildered expressions. 1873, they simply couldn't understand. 1874, how today's music had ended up like this. 1875, seeing that the song was about to end. 1876, and not a single one of the four big chairs had spun around. 1877, a trace of anxiety appeared on Huang Tao's face. 1878, his gaze shifted toward his assistant's location. 1879, where the assistant flashed him a clenched fist. 1880, a sign to hang in there and keep singing. 1881, thinking his assistant had everything completely arranged. 1882, Huang Tao continued his wrap-up with confidence. 1883, shouting out at the audience seating, "Don't come near me." 1884, a wave of jeers erupted from down below the stage. 1885, as the song concluded. 1886, not one of the four giant chairs in front of him had spun around. 1887, Huang Tao bit his lip, feeling rather ticked off. 1888, diva Wang Jingyu gave a bland, nonchalant review. 1889, your appearance is pretty good. Keep it up. 1890, the other three mentors wore awkward expressions on their faces. 1891, and declined to comment altogether. 1892, host Aji hurriedly stepped in to smooth things over. 1893, thank you, teacher, for the encouragement given Huang Tao. Let's welcome our next contestant. 1894, Huang Tao fled the stage as if running for his life. 1895, he Dongming and I exchanged glances without saying anything. 1896, I left the recording site. 1897, got into a car and headed straight for the train station. 1898, pulling out my phone to take a look. 1901, Qin Kaching basically treated me like her personal diary. 1902, sharing every single little thing with me. 1903, however, there was also one rather important piece of news. 1904, Jiang Yu's mother was a professor at the Central Conservatory of Music. 1905, and after listening to Jiang Yu play Castle in the Sky. 1906, she really wanted to meet me. 1907, I replied with a simple no problem. 1908, right at that moment, inside a high-end office building. 1909, Qin Kaching was holding a meeting with the company's management team. 1910, when she suddenly saw the message letting her know I was coming back. 1911, she packed up her things and immediately headed straight out. 1912, President Qin, where are you going? The meeting isn't even over yet. 1914, her assistant asked hurriedly. 1915, Qin Kaching was taken aback for a second. 1916, then said to everyone, let's call it a day on today's meeting. Tomorrow, I expect to see your improvement proposals. If you don't have any, you can just hand in your resignations. 1919, with that said, she hurried away in a rush. 1920, not long after. 1921, a red sports car sped out from downstairs. 1922, racing along the wide road. Meanwhile, on the other side, 1923, Jiang Yu was practicing the piano at home. 1924, her mother, He Jiaowei, asked Lin Feng, does he have any other piano pieces? 1926, Jiang Yu answered impatiently, maybe he does. I have no idea. 1928, He Jiaowei glared at her daughter. 1929, this piece is no simple matter. 1930, Jiang Yu muttered under her breath. 1931, it's just one piece. 1932, that statement clearly lacked conviction. 1933, as a student who graduated majoring in piano. 1934, Jiang Yu's appreciation skills were still quite strong. 1935, He Jiaowei said coolly. 1936, this piece looks simple on the surface, but its structure and expression are extremely complete and clear. Calling it a master-level work wouldn't be an exaggeration at all. 1939, Jiang Yu's eyes widened. A master-level work? Are you kidding me? 1940, He Jiaowei let out a cold snort. There is absolutely no mistake. When you advance even further one day, you'll understand. 1944, Jiang Yu felt a slight shock in her heart. 1945, she hadn't expected Lin Feng to be this insane. 1946, but she trusted her mother's judgment. 1947, I was sitting on the train. 1948, logging into the music website via my phone to take a look. 1949, on the overall new song charts. 1950, my 4 songs still sat comfortably in the top 10. 1951, the number 1 spot still belonged to Lee Yoon-shi's. 1952, with a new song download count of 6.5 million. 1953, the number 2 spot was My The Ordinary Road. 1954, with a download count sitting right at 4 million. 1955, the gap with Lee Yoon-shi was still relatively large. 1956, but I was already content. 1957, after all, I didn't even have an agency helping me promote it yet. 1958, looking at the hurrying crowds on the train. 1959, I suddenly felt a bit lost. 1960, not knowing where my future would take me. 1961, stepping out of the train station. 1962, I could spot Shin Kaching standing there from afar. 1963, with a small red sports car parked right behind her. 1964, a warm feeling washed over my heart. 1965, it felt like coming home. 1966, we drove all the way straight to the hot pot restaurant. 1967, Shin Kaching smiled and said, "I'm treating today. I topped up a ton of money at your store, so eat whatever you want." 1970, I smiled helplessly. Going to my own store and letting someone else treat me? 1972, my skin wasn't that thick yet. 1973, the car quickly arrived in front of the hot pot restaurant. 1974, it wasn't even mealtime yet. 1975, but the entrance was already packed to bursting. 1976, Tangjing and a few servers were maintaining order outside. 1977, I brought Shin Kaching in through the back door. 1978, inside was an absolute scene of hustle and bustle. 1979, with every employee working diligently. 1980, Tang Jing walked by carrying some items. 1981, and upon seeing me, she immediately shouted out, "My big boss, Your Majesty has finally decided to show your face." 1983, I put on a straight face. "What's with the dramatics? Why are you making such a fuss over nothing?" 1985, Tang Jing said earnestly. 1986, I want to extend business hours by an hour for both lunch and dinner. That way we can host over 100 more customers a day. 1989, I nodded. Actually, I had been planning the exact same thing. 1990, since there were simply too many people lining up every day. 1991, I hadn't expected Tang Jing to have already planned it out. 1992, with an employee like this, being a boss like me was indeed a whole lot easier. 1994, Tang Jing glanced over at Shin Kaching again, a gossipy smile spreading across her face. "Boss, did you bag this beauty?" 1997, I gave Tang Jing a shove. "Get lost already. None of your business." 1998, Tang Jing let out a chuckle and turned to leave. 2000, so I called out after her, "Serve up a hot pot in my office." 2001, ILL, just grab a bite here. 2002, Tang Jing shouted back, "Got it." 2003, ILL, have it ready for you right away. 2004, Shin Kaching felt secretly ecstatic inside. 2005, she felt that this meant I was treating her as one of my own. 2006, she ran over to help Tang Jing haul a hot pot over. 2007, laid out a table full of dishes. 2008, and we started eating right inside the office. 2009, Shin Kaching's little face was flushed bright red from the spice. 2010, giving off a unique charm of her own. 2011, after finishing the hot pot, I received a call from Teacher Chui. 2012, he invited me to go to his studio next week. 2013, to chat about the upcoming match planning. 2014, and by the way, introduce his band to me. 2015, I agreed with overflowing delight. 2016, meanwhile, outside. 2017, Sophia was live streaming while eating hot pot. 2018, she had been camping out here trying to catch me these past few days. 2019, only to come up empty every single time. 2020, thinking today would probably be another wasted trip. 2021, she suddenly spotted a familiar figure walking by up ahead. 2022, ISN, that Lin phone. 2023, Daddy Sophia. She blurted out in a loud shout. 2024, she had wanted to call out boss. 2025, but because she was too excited. 2026, she accidentally blurted daddy instead of boss. 2027, everyone else in the stream heard it loud and clear. 2028, and pair after pair of gazes locked right onto her. 2029, she froze up completely herself. 2030, while the live chat wall completely exploded with comments. 2031 streamer, you absolute clown. 2032, actually Yun, dad in public. 2033 Fayer, don't go looking for a sugar daddy. If you want one, you can find me. My daughter is so well behaved. 2035 Sufir wished she could find a place. 2036 to drill down into and hide. 2037 I came out to help after finishing my meal. 2038 handing out a bottle of water to every table of customers. 2039 Chin Kaching also followed right behind me. 2040 helping me hand out items just like a waitress. 2041 and even helping serve dishes. 2042 while smiling cheerfully toward the patrons. 2043 taking advantage of the moment I came over to deliver water. 2044 how could Sufir possibly let me go? 2045 boss. The fans of my stream have been waiting for you for days. You gotta drop a song today. 2048 I smiled and didn't refuse. 2049 I had wanted to thank Sufir in the first place. 2050 because thanks to that previous live stream. 2051 the hot pot restaurant was able to do such booming business. 2052 in my own songs. 2053 we're able to get so many people downloading them. 2054 the moment Tang Jing saw what was happening. 2055, she quickly turned on the sound system. The boss is going to sing again. This place is about to blow up. 2056, I sang, it's not that simple first. 2058, Sufir aimed her phone camera right at me. 2059, and the viewer count in the live stream skyrocketed at lightning speed. 2060, bringing immense joy to her heart. 2061, there were also quite a few other internet celebs in the shop running live streams. 2062, as the song ended. 2063, hundreds of people had already gathered outside the entrance of the hot pot restaurant. 2064, applause echoed loudly across the entire street. 2065, while the applause inside the restaurant was practically thunderous. 2066, I waved my hand, stood up, and prepared to take my leave. 2067, Sufir immediately shouted out, "Boss, are there any new songs? Sing a new song for us." 2069, the surrounding crowd chimed in, shouting, "Sing a new song. Sing a new song," not just inside the shop. An even louder wave of sound washed in from outside. 2072, I was somewhat speechless. It looked like I'd have to visit my own hot pot joint less often from now on. 2074, I sat back down, and speaking into the mic, I said, "All right, then I'll sing a brand new song I just wrote recently." 2077, everyone quieted down, each of them wearing expressions of excitement and anticipation. 2079, Chin Kaching followed behind Tang Jing to help out. 2080, the two of them chatting and laughing as they continued. 2081, when I first opened the hot pot restaurant, all the employees were young girls. 2083, many of them came out to work right after graduating junior high, making them very young, very innocent, very kind-hearted, and also very hardworking. 2086, they treated this place like their own home. 2087, some left midway, while others stuck it out all the way to now. 2089, I am deeply grateful for their dedication to the shop. Jing, Lian, and a few other veteran employees all smiled, their eyes carrying traces of glistening tears. 2093, the girls who first came in together back then, all hailed from impoverished rural villages. 2095, I wonder how everyone has been doing lately. 2096, I said sincerely, this song is called Those Flowers, dedicated to every single girl who has ever stayed here, and also dedicated to every single beauty present today. You are all as beautiful as flowers. 2101, hearing my words. 2102, many of the young women felt a deep emotional stir. 2103, and began clapping hard. 2104, my fingers began to gently strum across the guitar strings. 2105, and a gentle, soothing melody flowed softly out. 2106, spreading through the sound system to every corner inside and outside the shop. 2107, Chin Kaching pulled out her phone to record video. 2108, and with a smile playing at the corners of her lips, she said to Tang Jing, "Stop working for a second." 2109, and listen to the song your boss wrote for you guys. 2110, Tang Jing smiled. "No way. I'm still on the clock." 2112, even though Tang Jing often joked around with the boss. 2113, she was extremely serious when it came to her work. 2114, this was also part of the corporate culture here. 2115, my faint, mellow, singing voice drifted out. 2116, the sea is vast. 2117, the singing was like a rippling spring stream. 2118, flowing quietly into everyone's hearts. 2119, everyone plunged into memories of the past. 2120, where face after face in their memories was smiling brightly. 2121, by now, all those faces had scattered to the winds. 2122, and everyone was living their own separate lives. 2123, Sufir wiped her eyes. 2124, her eye rims had already turned red. 2125, she felt as though this song was singing about her very own life. 2126, she was one of those very flowers. 2127, ever since leaving school, she had worked herself to the bone trying to make money. 2128, the boy who used to care for her during her college days. 2129 had gradually grown blurry in her memories. 2130, yet today, he suddenly became exceptionally clear. 2131, he used to care for her as gently as tending to a flower. 2132, yet she had somehow let him slip away. 2133, an inexplicable wave of regret flooded her entire body. 2134, my singing continued. 21:35 la. La la la. 2137, the viewer count in the live stream broke through 550,000. 2138, yet Sufir's mood right now was heavy. 2139, with an obvious tear stain. 2140, hanging down her cheek. 2141, the live chat wall had completely exploded by this point. 2142, I just looked up a photo of my first love from college and bawled my eyes out. She's already a mom, while I'm still single. 2145, the boss's vocals always hit right in the feels. 2146, this song is just way too good. 2147, I'm going to call my first love right now. 2148, this incident instantly hit the trending searches. 2149, hot pot restaurant boss dropping new songs. 2150, over in a luxury villa. 2151, Lee Yunxi sat on the couch. 2152, watching Sufir's live stream on her tablet. 2153, her tears already flowing uncontrollably down her face. 2154, as I sang the very last line. 2155, bringing the song to a close. 2156, I stood up holding my guitar. 2157, and gave a slight bow to everyone. 2158, Lynn, she finally couldn't hold it in anymore and burst into loud sobs. 2159, holding her head in her hands and burying it deep in her knees. 2160, she knew there was no going back. 2161, she was just like one of those flowers. 2162, drifting away from my side. 2163, even though the two of them still seemed to be in the same city. 2164, it felt as if they were worlds apart. 2165, deafening applause erupted inside the hot pot restaurant. 2166, I grabbed my guitar and quickly slipped away. If I didn't leave now, I wouldn't be able to leave at all in a minute. 2168, as soon as I stepped into the office. 2169, Chin Kaching lunged straight at me with red eye rims. 2170, wrapping her arms directly around my waist. 2171, and pressing her head against my chest. 2172, you sang so well. 2173, I jumped in fright. I already had a bit of trauma regarding this office. 2175, looking at the fragile Chin Kaching in front of me. 2176, I didn't have the heart to push her away. 2177, I reached out my right hand and gently ruffled her hair. 2178, thanks. Now let go of me quickly. 2179, Chin Kaching looked somewhat reluctant. 2180, rubbing her head against my chest. 2181, before lowering her head and taking a step back. 2182, her face already flushed bright red. 2183, just as she wanted to say something. 2184, Tang Jing walked in swiftly. Boss, that investor we contacted before, Zhongyuan Group, is here. Are you going to meet them or not? 2188, I hesitated for a moment, then said, bring her my office.